Friday. Man, oh man, free for all. We'll get you on the phone so you can sound off, weigh in on the conversations we're having today. Plus, we hear from a couple of folks. Kyle Olson, the Midwesterner.news, joining us in just moments. Eric Nesbitt running for governor here in Michigan, and all the reaction and response to yesterday's attack, terrorism here in Michigan at that synagogue in Detroit, West Bloomfield, the suburb. All on the way.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. Should be talking about these around the water cooled. The entertainment no matter where you are. Powered by good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Calloway and the team ready to help you at hhmlending.com. Want to save thousands just like I did, and so many others that listen to this program each and every time we worked with them. We've done an actual mortgage when we bought the home, the refinance, I think like a year or two later, and got our interest rate into a place you wouldn't even believe. I don't want to talk about it today because it's so good. And then the HELOC, the home equity line of credit, they can help you each and every time. Reach out to Dave today, hhmlending.com.
Number one.
Tell him thank you for supporting the program. Well, the synagogue attacker was a naturalized citizen from Lebanon. The story you've been hearing about this morning on Wood Radio. Some of the other networks probably not covering much of this. But apparently he entered the U.S. in 2011 on an IR-1 immigrant visa as a spouse of a U.S. citizen. Then he was naturalized and granted citizenship under Obama. That's important. That took place in 2016. His name, 41-year-old Lebanese national Ayman Mohammed Ghazali. He lived near the attack, actually not far away in Dearborn. He rammed his truck rigged with explosives into that preschool entrance there at the Temple Israel in West Bloomfield. And of course, when folks saw that happen, they could only imagine what took place. The response from law enforcement was overwhelming. The motive, they say, they're investigating right now, looks like his family in Lebanon was killed in an Israeli airstrike just days ago. And this man wanted revenge. But wait, there's more. Earlier in the day yesterday, we were just getting through the reports of Old Dominion, a shooting suspect previously arrested for trying to support ISIS. The suspect in the deadly shooting at Old Dominion identified 36-year-old Mohammed Baylor Jayla. A former Army National Guard member had prior federal conviction for attempting to provide material support to ISIS. Now, you and I, because we have a couple of brain cells still rubbing together there, maybe trying to figure out at this moment, what the hell was this guy still doing here in the country? He's arrested trying to support ISIS in 2016, and they let him stay? It's another activist judge back in 2024 apparently allowed that to happen. More details as we continue the conversation ahead. All of it comes as we have the latest in Iran, as we just saw the statement this morning from Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. You know what? All intents and purposes, looks like that war is wrapping up as far as the action there. Just a couple little things left to do with it. It looks like Strait of Hormuz, and they're dealing with, I think, getting ships moved. Now, here's what the media won't tell you. Ships are moving. But the only ships that are moving right now, at least the reports I've seen, appear to be Chinese. So it's possible to get ships through the strait, but they've got to buckle down and make sure they do some targeted things in the meantime. And I would not, I wouldn't put that past. Obviously, the president knows, and some of the other folks ahead of what is needed and what will be done in the days ahead. Today we mourn 4 down in plane crash that took place in Iraq. In fact, there are 2 others missing right now. We'll continue to pray for their families as well. Involved in that refuel. It looks like it was a refueling incident. Still have some more details on that as it comes in the next a day or so. Stick with us. You want to join in? Jump on the phone now on a free-for-all Friday.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
All right, I'll ask some obvious questions, and maybe we'll get some answers that are obvious or not so obvious. But our good friend Kyle Olson, either way, here with us today, founder of The Midwesterner, themidwesterner.news. Always a pleasure, Kyle. Appreciate you being here with us today.
Good morning.
Michigan, unfortunately, in the center of some very tragic news here nationally over the last day and recently as well. But let's talk about this story right out the gate. What happened in West Bloomfield, and unfortunately what happened in Old Dominion as well. These are two individuals that I guess people are going to have to really start thinking about. We've been focused on folks in the country illegally, and one of the things that we have been focused on is, look, there's no vetting process. We don't know who these people are and what they want to do once they get here. Folks, we're being attacked by people right now who have been vetted. So that should underscore the importance of all of this. And then I also want to loop in there to put the icing on the cake, if we can here, Kyle. This is all happening as Democrats are holding us all hostage and refuse to fund the very people who protect us against these things from happening. And I can't believe that the things aren't burning down. I can't believe the media aren't more on fire. And I understand who we're dealing with, but I mean, to me, this has never been more clear. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right. You go and watch on X. Go and watch Alyssa Slotkin's statement, because soon after this happened, she voted again against funding Homeland Security. But go and watch her statement. She makes it all about herself, and I am so sick of these politicians who, when something like this happens, they have to make it about themselves. And either they're taking pictures in front of it, or, there was a picture of Benson or Whitmer in the helicopter. And of course, after the tornado this week, and of course, she had to be in the picture. The politicians love to do this. But to me, there's a couple takeaways from what happened yesterday. First of all, Sheriff Mike Bouchard took the security of these sorts of locations very seriously. And in one, as you said, there was an overwhelming response, which I think was important. But also, he is communicating with these sorts of locations that will be targets for terrorists, and making sure that they're prepared. And that particular synagogue, which is also a school, had security, and it was the security who ended the threat. But then also the Trump FBI in January held a training for this very precise sort of attack. And so it is good to see, and it's unfortunate. This is the world that we live in. But it's good to see people like Sheriff Bouchard and the leaders of the synagogue taking this seriously and defending themselves.
It is absolutely. And you can imagine a world where this doesn't have to happen if we had everybody on pulling in the same direction. Unfortunately, there's just no other way to put this. Democrats seem to hate America, hate Donald Trump, and hate all of us Americans. And I don't know which one worse.
Well, what we're seeing is Democrats, they for whatever reason, want to dox and expose ICE agents and others who are getting criminal illegal aliens out of the country. They're holding up Homeland Security funding in order to ban ICE agents and others from wearing masks. That's really what it boils down to. And so they again voted yesterday. Alyssa Slotkin has no problem putting our national security at risk in order to get her way on this. And I don't think that can be lost. But the other thing that I found very disturbing yesterday was, and you sort of touched on it, but the media is saying, well, his family was bombed. And I went back to find the original source, and it was American Arab News, or Arab American News. And they cite anonymous sources. So it could be anybody. They could just be making it up. And somehow the implication here is that what he did is justified because
Right.
he had family members. And so what it really boils down to is they're actually trying to claim that this guy supposedly has had family members killed, and therefore it's okay, or there's some rationale.
You can understand it. You can
attempting
see
to kill children.
Yeah, you can see where the guy's coming from. That's what they want you to think.
And there's zero justification for it.
And I'll add on to that. What about the guy in Old Dominion? Any motive there? Was there any cover story? And on top of this, the other piece of this is this. Kyle Olson with the Midwesterner right now on the phone with us as we speak. Don't go into any of the threads, the comments on any of the Dearborn stuff, because you'll lose your mind when you see people actually defending this guy.
Yeah, has not that I've seen. There's not been a lot from Old Dominion, but what was significant was that the students fought back, and the students weren't armed. And if you read between the lines of what the FBI and other officials are saying, they took matters into their own hands and they ended the threat. And I thought to myself, Trump's America is a different America.
Yeah.
Where people are not sitting back and taking it anymore.
Oh, thank God. Michigan, let's pivot if we can. We've got some crazy things happening here beyond some of these other issues as well. Well, first, let me start with this right here in our own backyard in Grand Rapids yesterday. I don't know if you saw this insanity, the anti-ICE weirdos taking over at the Kent County Commission meeting. And then I looked at these folks at the commission meeting. I thought to myself, oh man, I hate to be on this commission. I hate to be on this one. There's only like 2 or 3 like serious people here that aren't wearing masks and aren't all dressed up in this like abolish ICE garb, which, I mean, it's clear they're all buying from the same, store or getting their gear for free. And then everybody else is reporters and what. I'm thinking, I can't imagine. This is just a circus, but
now and ICE holds now.
And by the way, they all got arrested at some point. But this is another one of these crazy stories because as our news has been reporting it all day long, when somebody is arrested, the protocol is here in Kent County, they go through and they put them into a database to see if they're wanted, have any other warrants or any other issues anywhere else. And that's the same thing that they want to do here with ICE. Now, these people say they don't want them to do this. Well, that would be, we're not going to check for any warrant. It wouldn't just be ICE if they stopped doing all of this. On top of it, these crazies have actually gone to the home of one of the folks on the board. It's insanity, these type of things that we've seen. So whether it's domestic or foreign, these threats are, we got to take them seriously.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that they started their takeover by holding their sign upside down. I thought that was funny. But what they ultimately want is they want to keep criminal illegal aliens in the country. And if they commit a crime in Grand Rapids or in Kent County, they want them to, get a light punishment and then stay in the country. And don't forget, these organizations that are doing this, these are Hillary Scholten's friends. These are her allies. And what these organizations want is to keep dangerous people who don't belong in our communities in Kent County, in Michigan, in America.
You make a great point. I don't think enough people know or maybe have heard about or talk about the background of Hillary Scholten, who is the congresswoman here in the 3rd Congressional District. She's being challenged right now by Terry DeBoer, who I think has a fair shot of taking this seat back for the folks of the Truth, Logic, and Common Sense Persuasion. But her whole career, her whole history has all been about really fighting for folks who are in the country illegally, not fighting for Americans or folks here in the third. I can tell you that much.
That's right. She was an attorney for the Immigrant Rights Center, and she fought to keep illegal aliens in the country. That has never really been scrutinized. The Midwesterner is scrutinizing that, and we're going to make sure that voters are informed about what her record is, what her history is, the fact that the numerous bills that have been proposed and brought up during this session, including there was a bill to deport illegal aliens that assault police officers. You would think that that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And she voted against that.
Of course.
And there have been many other bills. She voted against Homeland Security funding, again, like Alyssa Slotkin, because she wants to unmask ICE agents who are being threatened and being doxxed. And she wants to expose their identity so they can continue to be threatened and doxxed. This is the record of Hillary Scholten, and people need to know it.
Kyle Olson at the Midwestern, the Midwesterner.news. Thank you for taking the time updates today. I know we're up against the clock, but we didn't get to talk about any of the Gretchen Whitmer horror stories from the week, and we had plenty of them.
Oh, there are plenty. We're going to have more today.
Go online at the Midwestern, the Midwesterner.news. Don't just bookmark it. Certainly do that, but make sure you put your email in so you get all the updates. Kyle, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks.
We'll have it back next week and do a little bit deeper dive. Maybe things calm down just a little bit. We'll keep you up to date on it. Speaking of calming down, is the weather going to calm down anytime soon? We got an eye on all of that high wind advisory issues and also some of the snow that we could be getting over the next day or so. An inch or two. More on that coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's West Michigan Live. Back after this.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9
Here are your
FM.
headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, March 13th. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Governor Whitmer reacting to the radical who drives his truck into a Detroit area synagogue. The suspect dead, and luckily none of the teachers or children hurt. But as for the security guard at the synagogue,
I saw someone lying on the ground, and that person happened to be one of the head of security. After that, I heard gunshots, bang, 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 bang. And I believe it was obviously one of our security officers.
And our Democrat governor taking to her X page, writing, "Today's attack is every community's worst nightmare. We saw incredible people step up today to save lives and stop the suspect. Our state is grateful to the security personnel for their bravery and law enforcement who jumped into action to keep students safe." For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now.
All right, behind the scenes live stream, folks, in the Freedom Fam watching live right now. We appreciate you being here. You get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly each and every day that we do the live stream. No matter where you're watching, we're going to say good morning to the folks on a VIP in the Freedom Fam over on Locals this morning. Panda Hammy, Patriot Dean, good to see you. Michigan Joe, thank you, Greta. Appreciate you guys. Dana's in the house today. I know Mando is on. I think he's on the road. I think he hit the road and hit the road, Jack, and is on his way to the free state of Florida. Jen Lane, good to see you over on Rumble. Tree Frog SJ, such a time as this. Beasley, thank you guys for helping us, Duga. Thank you for sharing the broadcast again today. I gave something cool away from the store yesterday. At the end of the show, I came back to make sure that we announced it. Today, I'll make sure I do the same thing. Facebook particularly, but if you're on Rumble, this helps us. If you're on X, this helps us too. Get the word out about what is happening here and help us break the algorithms, specifically on Facebook. Jason, good to see you. Therese, good to see you. Bunny, thank you so much. As always, Bonnie, Shirley, Jason, Sherry, Katie, Lady Vu over on the X. Thank you guys. Back on the air here just momentarily, and then we will take a break for the bottom of the hour news. Stand by.
Attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
Yeah, speaking of the wind, we got high wind warning in West Michigan today. Winds up to 60 mile per hour. We're going to sustain 25, 35 mile per hour. Peaking up to 60. Could knock down some trees and power lines. You know, we could see some widespread outages, but of course, we'll continue to pray that no issues and no folks hurt and property as well during this issue today. But we're going to keep you updated as well, so you don't have to walk around with your head in the sand. Could make some travel difficult for high-profile vehicles, they warn as well. More on that issue and even the snow that's heading our way after this on West Michigan Live.
Our 2026 iHeart Podcast Awards are happening live at South by Southwest.
And the winner is...
Watch live Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, free at Veeps.
We got some Pete Hegseth video from today. So let me see. Maybe I could pull some of the Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, responding to Tucker Carlson. Oh, my, folks. Well, at least the comment about war and this war. Here's Pete.
In parts of the party, particularly from your fellow Fox News alum Tucker Carlson, he called the war disgusting and evil, and then said of unconditional surrender, which the president has called for, means foreign troops get to rape your wives and daughters. Have you heard these comments, and what's your reaction to them?
We're busy executing on behalf of great patriotic Americans with a clear mission that's 47 years overdue, and we're going to execute on that regardless of what people say about it.
Yeah, right. I thought that was a great response. I thought that was absolutely great. Because it doesn't dig any deeper into the salaciousness of the comments or the question. In fact, it does what it does. Hey, we're busy taking care of business here. We will continue to take care of business. We've got one goal. We've got one mission here, and that's to keep the American people safe and get this done. And I just heard this morning, and I thought to myself, this is a really good point. They've done so much. And we talk about, when you hear the war should be done or it could be done or consider it done right now. This is what they mean by this. They have knocked the Iranian regime so far back into the Stone Age that it would take them 10 years to get back to where they were about a year ago. It would take a decade. So even if everything stopped today, the entire region and this country as well, and our assets and allies, much safer because of what they did. Much safer. Here's General Raisin Kane.
On to project power beyond their borders and protect our deployed. In just the first 13 days of this operation, our artillery forces have made history. They fired the first precision strike missiles ever used in combat, reaching deep into enemy territory. They've used Army ATACMS to sink multiple ships, including a submarine, and they've done all of this with the precision and determination that comes from relentless training and trust in each other and in their weapon systems. Yesterday, I had the incredible...
By the way, they say today is going to be the heaviest, the busiest day end the fight altogether. That's according to General Raisin Cane. Sorry, that's how Trump says it. So I have to do it. And I love the name. General, they call me Raisin, sir. Yeah, you ever heard anybody tells a story? General Raisin Cane.
Today will be our heaviest day of kinetic fires across the operating area.
That means look out.
CENTCOM continues to attack ballistic missile and drone capabilities so that they are no longer a threat to U.S. forces, our bases, or our partners. They're continuing to destroy the Iranian Navy to ensure freedom of navigation, and this means going after Iran's mine-laying capability and destroying their ability to attack commercial vessels. And we're targeting their defense industrial base so they cannot rebuild the capabilities that can harm America's interests or our partners.
Right, stand by. They got Whitmer live now on Fox News. Holy cow. Let's hear some of this. Apparently she's given a statement in Lansing.
Know that we are with you. Violence in our houses of worship and in our schools and in our daycare centers like this hits especially hard. Temple Israel is a pillar of the community. It's one of the largest Reformed Jewish congregations in North America, with Friday night Shabbat services attracting over 1,000 people. People celebrate bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, and holidays here. Parents bring their children to daycare and school. And it's a place of peace, unity, light, and life. Yesterday's attack was anti-Semitism. It was hate, plain and simple. We will fight this ancient and rampant evil. We will stand together as we do it, and we will call it out. We must lower the rhetoric in this state and in this country, especially at this moment where we have seen such a rise in anti-Semitism and more attacks on the Jewish community. Must keep each other close. This community is on the edge, very understandably. We've seen a rise in attacks, especially over the last decade, especially over the last 10 months. And so it is important for us to stand up, to stand against it, and to thank the people who showed up to support the community, but also call out where we see acts of anti-Semitism, where we see threats, where we see something, how important it is to say something, and to recognize that each of us has a responsibility. People like the person that attacked this community yesterday get fomented by rhetoric that they see online and that they see on television and they hear on the radio. It radicalizes people.
No, they don't.
And it endangers our fellow Michiganders.
Well, that's a lie. They don't hear any of this on the radio. Any Islamic.
Take action.
That's crazy.
And how we can. And with that, I'll hand it over to Senator Slotkin, and then we'll take a couple of questions.
Oh, great. Senator Slotkin.
Thank you, Governor. And just want to reiterate, I think it's clear that if it were not for...
By the way, both those two are running for president.
Staff at Temple Israel, and then the first responders, first on the scene, local law enforcement, if they had not all done their jobs almost perfectly, we would be talking about an immense tragedy here today with children gone.
So they're right here in West Michigan.
She's almost probably sad that that's not the case. Hang on, folks.
Online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, CertaPro.com.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Governor Whitmer just spoke at a press conference in Lansing this morning, or this is in West Bloomfield. Talking about yesterday's events at Temple Israel, the synagogue there in West Bloomfield, and the response. Now Senator Slotkin speaking live on Fox News.
Of this temple, and I feel just an immense amount of pain, as does the rest of the community, that incidents like this even happen. And I think it's just important to be clear, as the governor said, that whether anti-Semitism is coming from the left or the right, whether it's coming from some group that you like or don't like, you have a responsibility to call it out. Because when you don't, it gives permission for people to climb that escalation, that ladder of escalation that goes from saying hateful things online to saying them in person to graffiti to ultimately violence.
I just remind you that both Governor Whitmer and Senator Slotkin are attempting to run for president in 2028 and launch those campaigns. So just remember, anything they say here today, while some of it might sound appealing, is aimed at. I'd really like to see actions. They say, know them by their fruit. Well, why was it just right after this attack that the senator voted against funding the very people that would keep Americans safe? Just moments after this whole thing took place yesterday, and the two that took place yesterday. One thing is for sure, good people with guns did stop bad people yet again, and in both scenarios. The sheriff Bouchard there in this situation yesterday making that.
Here's what we know so far. A car came to the facility, breached the facility by driving into it, was engaged by security. We believe there is one individual deceased in the vehicle. It's been complicated because there was some fire, to say the least, with that vehicle. We believe that individual is deceased. No kids, this is the important thing, no kids or no staff was injured whatsoever. Okay?
Thankfully, that's the case, and we continue to pray for the folks that were impacted there, and folks who serve and stand in the way of evil each and every day. Senator Eric Nesbitt, Senate Minority Leader, joins us right now, Republican, running for governor here in Michigan. Senator, I noticed your comment yesterday about good guys with guns once again stepping in and doing the right thing when we see one of the most tragic, horrific, and senseless, needless things happening right here in our own state. Welcome in.
Well, Justin, thanks for having me and thanks for covering this. And you're absolutely right. A brave, thank God for that brave security guard who stopped this terrorist in his tracks, and for the immediate response by local police, the FBI, and President Trump. And it was just another example of federal, state, and local law enforcement working in tandem to keep people safe. But let's be perfectly clear on this. This is, again, a growing face of radical Islamic terrorism. We have a serious problem with extremism breeding right here in our country. And you can't deny these connections that are happening. We saw this last fall when the FBI took on a terrorist attack, an attempted terrorist attack that was going to happen in Ferndale. And you see this once again with one that unfortunately we didn't catch it earlier. But once again, it's I don't think people can hide behind the fact that, once again, it's a radical Islamism that's being pushed here in America and needs to stop. And I'll never apologize for demanding our communities be safe from terrorism and violence.
This month alone, here's a list that was put out on Will Kane and Fox News. Austin and the attacker there, naturalized citizen. The Old Dominion attacker, naturalized citizen. New York City teen bombers, children of naturalized citizens. Michigan synagogue attack, naturalized citizen. We've been talking a lot about folks who are in the country illegally, but some of the folks here in the country legally, as you make that point, these are issues that have to be addressed as well. And here in Michigan, at the same time, we got a large population of folks and lots of folks that just want to do the right thing too. So it's hard to thread that needle, but gosh, we can't act like this isn't an issue.
Yeah, radical Islam is actively putting Americans in danger, and we have to face it head on. Yet while our country endures multiple terrorist attacks from these extremists, I mean, you just mentioned it earlier in this episode, the Democrats in Washington, D.C. are withholding Department of Homeland Security funding to pander to their radical base. And they're actively fighting local and federal cooperation, like what we saw yesterday, to deport dangerous, radicalized individuals from our country. This is why I believe in banning sanctuary cities, why I don't think there should be any sanctuary jurisdictions in Michigan or in America, so that local law enforcement works with state law enforcement, works with federal law enforcement. And shame on our U.S. Senators, Gary Peters and Alyssa Slotkin, for just minutes afterwards voting against funding our brave folks at the Department of Homeland
Senator Eric Nesbitt with us right now, running for governor here in Michigan. I got to bring this up because you mentioned sanctuary cities. And in the state of Michigan, in fact, in Detroit, we know just the other day, running as an independent, we hear a lot about Duggan, who's really the Democrat Duggan, wants to run as an independent, and how great he's doing, the great job he's doing in Detroit. But we just heard the other day there were a couple of police officers who turned in some folks to ICE or to Border Patrol, had immigration issues. And, of course, these guys are in trouble now in Democrat Duggan's Detroit now because of it. Is that the kind of thing he's going to do in the state of Michigan if he's the governor?
Yeah, no matter what these Democrats say or do, or what kind of stripes, whether they call themselves independents or Democrats or fake moderates, at the end of the day, they're not willing to do what it takes to partner with federal law enforcement to make sure every criminal illegal is deported from the country. This is what needs to happen. We need to make sure that we have proper vetting that happens from folks from other countries that want to immigrate here. No other country allows 1 million legal immigrants to come into this country, come into their country every year. We got to make sure that these are the folks that want to start a family and a business and invest and grow here, not start breeding radical terrorism. And this is what we saw the face of yesterday.
Senator Eric Nesbitt with us right now. He's the Senate Minority Leader running here to be the next governor in Michigan. And I want to ask you another issue came up earlier this week. There's story after story, unfortunately, of Whitmer's Michigan and the legacy she's leaving behind, courtesy of the folks at the Midwesterner. They've been doing a deep dive on this. Whitmer's legacy, Michigan's second to last for income growth among all states since 1970. Just another bad situation that we see playing out here. The other issue that we found came to be Detroit is the most unhappiest city in the country. Again, which is another issue. We see the roads to being another problem. But one of the things that I'm watching play out, and I think this is a big piece, is how we're going to see investment come back into the country and into the state of Michigan, particularly. So I don't want to miss out. And I made this point very clear since the beginning. We watched President Trump to see what he's doing with bringing investment. And we've seen Michigan already benefit from some of that. But really, we've got to make sure that everything's clear here, that we get out of the way and allow businesses to thrive. That's when they'll come here to the state. How do we make that work when you're governor?
Yeah, as governor, I'll make Michigan the best state to live, work, and start a business in. I'll fight on day one to make sure that our families and job creators are once again able to make it here in Michigan. And you're exactly right. Our families are getting squeezed, our job creators are getting squeezed, and our kids can't make it in Michigan anymore. Michigan ranks third in national unemployment, has one of the fastest rising rates in national unemployment. The average family in Michigan makes $9,000 less than the average family nationally. And we've had the second worst population growth over the past 2 decades, and projections show we could lose another 700,000 people over the next 30 years in the state. Michigan's economy over the last 2 decades has grown one-third as fast as the national economy. And so right now, our families, it's tough for them to make it. Our job creators, it's tough for them to make it. But we're also a bottom 10 education state. 3 out of 5 fourth graders can't read at grade level. And that paints a very grim picture for the future of Michigan. And that doesn't even include what we started off with on the crime statistics. We're 39th, just about bottom 10 in keeping our citizens safe. Nearly a 30% higher increase of aggravated assaults, of crime. And we have 2 of the 10 highest crime cities in the nation. That's Saginaw and Detroit. We need a governor that actually puts families first. That means we lower the cost of living, repeal the Democrats' Green New Scam to lower the cost of energy. We repeal the state property tax so we can make it easier for families to make it here in Michigan. We need to go ahead and take a blowtorch to the bureaucracy and the regulations in Lansing to allow job creators to invest and grow here in the state. And we need to provide choice. On day one, I'm going to sign President Trump's school choice tax credit as your next governor to make sure every family has a choice on where they send their kids to school. And I'm going to bring back the trades into high school to make sure that we're not losing another generation of skilled tradesmen here in the state. If we're going to join with President Trump, to rebuild our manufacturing base, rebuild our infrastructure, and rebuild our economy. Because he's bringing back made in the USA. I'm going to bring back make it in Michigan.
Senator Eric Nesbitt, running for governor. Find out more online, obviously, at nesbittforgovernor.com. Appreciate you taking the time today. Thank you for the update. And as you mentioned, that school choice, I got to tell you, just got back from the free state of Florida, and friends down there were telling me they got a girl, they're homeschooling her right now. She's in the 8th grade, and they get like $10,000 per student. They could spend that on tutoring. They could spend it on piano lessons if they want. I mean, it's incredible. And that money falling to kids, boy, that's the way to do it. Thank you for the update.
What a concept. We need to bring that to Michigan.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate you as always.
God bless.
You too. Back with more after this, grabbing some phone calls. We'll let you weigh in on West Michigan Live. Back next. Never a dull moment. The fastest hour on radio is flying by.
Setting the record straight. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio
Here are
app.
your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, March 13th. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Governor Whitmer thanking Michigan law enforcement for their quick response to the radical anti-Semite who drove his truck full of explosives straight into a synagogue in West Bloomfield.
This is a tough time. It is a tough time, but we will get through this. We'll get through this together. We'll get through this stronger.
That is Jewish Federation of Metro Detroit CEO Stephen Ingber. Now, it turns out this radical from Lebanon was granted citizenship under former President Obama. The children and teachers at the synagogue not hurt, but the synagogue security guard injured. Governor Whitmer taking to her X page, writing, "We are wishing the hero who was injured a speedy recovery. As we process this awful attack, let's wrap our arms around West Bloomfield and our state's Jewish community. We are stronger together." For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Okay, let's get to work.
All right, folks, rolling right along. We got some phone calls. We'll get to those. And, hey, you ever want to jump on? If you're in the chat, I see your chat messages every now and then. Maybe it's fun to just jump on and get on the phone. Hey, that sounds like fun. Jump in. It'll be a blast. Can't wait to see you. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. Hey, don't forget, and you might have to remind me, I got some good news I got to get to before we wrap up today. But check this out. Naples, Florida. Well, I was just down there. Naples, Florida, they got 2 electric buses. They've crunched the numbers, because Whitmer wants to do all these electric buses here. They've crunched the numbers, and I think they pay 38 cents. Well, just take a listen to what the school says.
It ran every route we had just so I could get a baseline, because I'm kind of data driven, and I wanted to see, all right, how are these really going to, operate in our territory? We have 9 routes. They average anywhere from 65 to 80 miles round trip. And basically 8 of the 9 routes are all uphill.
What has the data showed about how much you were paying to run a diesel bus versus how much you're paying to run an electric bus?
So currently we're paying about 36 cents per mile for a diesel bus. And that holds fairly steady because we can purchase our diesel off of state contracts. So it stays more level than, your gas stations. The electric, on the other hand, is all over the place because you never know from, month to month what it's going to be. So by the time you start factoring in your kilowatt hour for the supply and the delivery and all the other charges, just the same as you would for your diesel bill, we were paying $3.18 per mile for an electric bus.
Oh my gosh.
How often this winter did you say, we're not even going to run these?
This winter, they probably ran, I would say they probably were on the road maybe 50% of the time.
I gotta do a correction. That is not Naples, Florida. I know that's not right. I see like hills and mountains in the background. That is not Naples, Florida. I don't know where that is, but it ain't Florida. Hang on, folks. Back after this. The numbers still flush out, but we'll get to that. Hang on just 1 second. Back on the air. Stand by. Here we go. Fastest hour on radio, flying right by. Don't forget, I gotta get some good news before we get out of here today, and I'll make sure we do that in just a moment. Hang on. Yes. Here's General Raising Cane. Moments ago, earlier today, in that press briefing, with Secretary War Pete Hegseth talking about today might be the heaviest day.
Today will be our heaviest day of kinetic fires across the operating area. CENTCOM continues to attack ballistic missile and drone capabilities so that they are no longer a threat to U.S. forces, our bases, or our partners.
General Raising Cane. I love when Trump tells a story about this guy's name. He says, "They call me Raisin, sir." Well, there you have it. That's be on the lookout for today. Again, we're praying for the folks who are in harm's way. They're obviously serving the country. We had that story today. 4 more. That is just a support mission, a support role there in Iraq when there were 2 aircraft involved in that situation. More on that as the day goes on. We got weather updates. We'll continue to keep you updated on as well. But on the phones right now, John in Cedar. Appreciate you taking the time this morning, John. Good morning. Welcome in on a Free for All Friday.
Hey, good morning to you, Justin. I'd like to sum up the whole thing about why the Democrats won't pass funding for Homeland Security, why they want open borders, why we have radical judges allowing the criminals loose, allowing criminal aliens to stay in our country. It's because they are radical pro-abortionists. If you believe that it's okay and it's profit to kill a little tender, innocent baby, even euthanize them after that baby has been born, then you know they don't give a rat's behind about you, your family, your children, or America. On a lighter note, have you interviewed or talked to Kevin Kajewski, who's running for the AG?
I have, yeah.
Michigan?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's. I heard him at a meet and greet, and he appears to be a breath of fresh air. All right, on that note, you and your audience have a great weekend. Be safe. God bless.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Right back at you. A breath of fresh air. Speaking of which, how about this? Only in Tennessee, in the South. Well, I think we could probably see this here, too. But it's a story that you need to see because, obviously stories like this, they just don't get the attention that they deserve sometimes. They just don't get the all of the coverage. So that's why when we see good things happen, I say, you know what? We ought to give them a little more coverage. We ought to give them a little more spotlight, as it were. Here it is. Walking up, delivering what seems to be sort of DoorDash. And he's a senior citizen, or seasoned, as they say. It looks like a coffee order. Internet users are buzzing about this, raising $280,000 for this man who became a DoorDash delivery driver to help pay for his and his wife's bill.
Okay, I did find him. So a lady messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, he drops food off at our place of employment all the time. His name is Richard P. She tells me his name. I get on Google, find his address. I look at the video from the camera. I see what kind of car he's in. I pull it up on Google Maps. His address is like 5 minutes from where I'm at. I was like, okay, I'm going to drive over there. So I drive over there. Sure enough, there's the vehicle that he was in when he dropped off the Starbucks. And I was like, all right, this is our guy. So Me and my daughter get out of the car. We head up there, and I knock on the door, and I'm like, hey, you're going to think I'm crazy, but you delivered Starbucks to my house earlier today, and we tried to get on there and adjust the tip because we were trying to give you a bigger tip, and it would not let us. So I have Googled your name, and found your address, and here I am to give you money. And the look on his face, like, he truly looked mortified, like, what in the actual. But anyways,
she took it into her own hands there, the whole matter. She saw this man delivery. She said, I can't believe he asked it. He said, I work because I have to. I don't really want to. I was actually retired, but my wife lost her job at no fault of her own, which also means she lost her health insurance, the man told the customer, who tracked him down after seeing him on the Ring camera. So by the time we pay our living expenses plus our medical for medicines, we have nothing left at the end of the month. She's put that together. Currently, it's near $300,000. We'll put a link up in the stack today if you do want to help this man out. It's just another breath of fresh air. I think a little piece of good news just to restore your faith in all the good. More in our after show today. The podcast coming out this weekend. You can stay up to date with all of that and more. JustinBarclay.com and the stack there as well, so you can see the story. Everything else we cover. The Glenn Beck program is coming up next. In the meantime, stay safe today. The high wind advisory. Stick with us for the latest on the weather. Got some snow on the way this weekend as well. Make it a great one, folks. God bless.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids. WOOD FM Muskegon.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Somebody said, finally, GoFundMe being used for something good. Oh, my gosh. Some of the stuff that we've seen people being rewarded for lately is just incredible. It's incredibly crazy. And let me play, before I start the after show, let me play a little bit more of what she had to say here so you can all see this.
I was like, and I'm so sorry, I'm not trying to scare you. And I was like, so here's your tip. You know, we hope you have a very blessed day. You know, God really told us that we needed to bless you today. Like, you have been on our mind, and we needed to do this. And he asked us so many times, like, are you sure? Did you mean to give me this money? Can you afford it? Are you going to be okay if you give me this money? Yes, sir. You know, I'm fortunate. I do work full time. Cortland's dad, our daughter, he is disabled. So his way of like taking care of her is to do acts of kindness like that. Like, he has Starbucks delivered. So, you know, it was his idea. Like, let's get this man some money, go to the bank, get the money out. Let's get him some money. So, because he's been blessed in his life to have like the amazing people around him. And so he tries to give back every time he can too. So he's not able to do it physically, but financially he can. So we take the money to him, and it was sad. He had food on his face. Like, you know, he's just a little old grandpa. Like, he is cute. He was adorable. I was like, can I give you a hug? He's like, any pretty lady can give me a hug anytime. But he thanked us, and he thanked us, and he thanked us. And I told him, I was like, I promise I'm not trying to be weird. I was like, you know, if you want to keep working, I'm happy to like favor your name and make sure that you are able to deliver to me, you know, whatever. And, you know, he's like, I work because I have to. I don't really want to. He said, I was actually retired, but my wife lost her job at no fault of her own, which also means she lost her health insurance. And he said, so by the time we pay our living expenses plus our medical expenses for our medicines, we have nothing left at the end of the month. So he said, this was the only thing I knew that I could for sure do to supplement our income. So I did it. And he also informed me that, you know, sometimes he has people drive him. Like, if he's having bad days, he'll have people drive him. But like, this man should be retired. Like, he should be at home just chilling, exercising a couple times a day to, like, you know, to keep his mobility. But working, no. Like, I don't know. We need to help him. We need to help all of the elderly people in our communities who are literally struggling to walk retire because, you know, they took care of us at one point and it's our turn to take care of them.
Wow. That is incredible. Mary, I saw that too, but you could barely get up on that porch and them stairs. Holy cow. I just think little things like that, boy, they go a long way, don't they? They really do. And you just never know when you're doing something like this. You feel led in the moment. If you're obedient, you listen to the call and you move. What it can do and how it can encourage and inspire other people. All right, let's get into the after show. After the show, folks. Here we
get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay.
No more dally, no more dally. The after show is here, folks. Never a dull moment. Not enough time to get to it all, but we're trying to make sure that we handle it. Handle it for you. Give the people what they want. They've asked for it. They demand it. We're doing it right now. Thank you for being here with us, supporting the program. How can you support the program? Well, listen or share. Right now, we're asking you to share over on Facebook. Even if you're not watching on Facebook, but you have a Facebook, go over. Even if you're not watching live, find it, share it. Share other things on our page. We're trying to help break the algorithm right now. Facebook can be finicky, and it seems like they put us in some sort of restriction, some sort of lockup, some sort of jail in the last week or so. We're not exactly sure why. This is the funny thing about Facebook. You just never know. But your help, your support could help get that done. So go to Justin Barclay on Facebook. Look us up and you'll find us. And in the meantime, if you're looking to actually, but this is something that I always do. If you're looking for something, and you're going to buy this anyway, right? Pillows, towels, mattresses, anything for the home. MyPillow's got a great mega sale on right now. Plus, they've got that 3-inch hybrid and mattress topper thing as we speak. They've got energy drinks. Mike's got the best towels, the most absorbent you'll ever see. The Made in the USA sale, you save up to 50% off on all of that stuff that's in store in the mega sale, maybe even more. MyPillow.com, mystore.com/Justin. Use promo code Justin right now and save. And that's how you can support this program and what we do on a daily basis to get you more truth, logic, and common sense and flood the world with it. I mean, essentially, that's what we're trying to do. Hey, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. Got to get some Iran updates. Operation Epic Fury. Did you see? Oh, boy, this is something. The New York Post headline. This is wild. The new, they say, impotent supreme. Oh, why does this always do this? I want to show you the page. And then they make you go, hey, no, look at the ads. Oh, it's so annoying. And for something like consumers, it's like, first of all, I don't need an ad for consumer. I have to use you. Why do I need an ad? You're just driving the cost of my energy up even more. But look at the headline. Iran's new impotent supreme leader. Apparently they got some medical news on the guy, and they found out that well, anyway, I won't go any further. Apparently, there were reports that came out that he's in a coma. He had his leg amputated. I'll tell you one thing that is for sure. He's not well. In fact, I believe Hegseth mentioned earlier today in the press briefing that he's injured. But here's how we know this. Because they came out with this statement. This is a statement they released. And I guess
توجه همگان باشد. قطعاً همچنان از اهرم مسدود کردن تنگه هرمز باید استفاده شود و در مورد
let me just mute this. I'll read it because the woman is reading. He's not reading. Where the enemy is, if the war continues, will be considered while observing strategic interests. Yada, yada, yada. Who cares? He's threatening America in some of this. And then you also have to know that, like, if he's not able to make the statement himself, or he's too afraid to make the statement itself, I think it tells us everything we need to know. But in this scenario, in this situation, I think you can obviously infer that the guy, he may even be dead. I told you this the other day. One of my new favorite conspiracy theories is that the guy's dead. I believe so. They said today, obviously there's only so much they tell us, but Hexa says, we know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. The not-so-supreme leader? That's hilarious. The trolling that's happening at the level of these press briefings is wild. All right, take a listen to
His leadership is in no better shape. Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground, cowering. That's what rats do. We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity. Iran has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice recorders. Why?
Look at the tie. He's got the American flags on the tie, and he's got the American flag pocket square. I love that.
A written statement. I think you know why.
Yeah.
His father, dead. He's scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Iran may not even know.
See, that's the thing about all of this that is really interesting to me. In fact, there was some news that came out on this, or reports earlier, that the father, the former supreme leader, didn't even want this guy to take over. Isn't that something? And so how did this guy become the supreme leader? Well, I think probably just to have a name. There are other people behind the scenes that are trying to prop up the regime. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. It's totally what it is. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. In fact, I posted this. This would be a good one to share over on the page right now on Facebook. Weekend at the Ayatollahs. You can't make this. So the memes just never stop. Look at that. Weekend at the Ayatollahs. Love it. Love it. Anyway, you just can't, some of this stuff. It's just too good. It's just too good. Anyway, go on over to the Facebook page, share that, help us get the word out, and we definitely appreciate it. Speaking of Iran, there's some more reports that I haven't seen circulate too many places just yet. This is just in fact, moments ago. The Iranian people are done, Ryan Fournier writes. Reports are coming in that citizens are flooding American and Israeli intelligence with videos exposing exactly where regime and military officials are hiding. The regime is absolutely panicking behind the scenes. Keep it going. Freedom is winning. So, okay, we've got some of this video. Let me see if I can play this for you here if you watch this. It's just a guy driving down the highway. Yeah. That's interesting. I think maybe there's something to that. Anyway, it's pieces of the puzzle, putting it all together. Now, we do know Scott Bessent. In fact, this is part of the last, I think, part of what's going to come together with the Operation Epic Fury developments. Iran, the U.S. Navy will escort. This is March 12th. This is yesterday. Escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz when militarily possible. Dissent is telling Sky News. And for Trump, talk about this too. But the Navy will begin escorting the ships through the strait as soon as militarily possible. That was always in our planning, that there's a chance the U.S. Navy or perhaps an international coalition will be escorting oil tankers through. Iran's new supreme leader earlier Thursday said the Strait of Hormuz should remain closed as a tool to pressure the enemy. I think they get that cleared up eventually at some point. I don't know that it's going to happen right away. We do know that oil is making it through in China. According to some of the reports I've heard, so the strait isn't entirely closed. But what I will tell you, and what I think is kind of fascinating about this, is that the prices of the barrel has gone up. We've seen the price at the pump go up, and what people aren't really, what they're not getting here is that this is all it's all fear-based. It's all sort of gouging. Well, the markets certainly are. Look at today. Just like you have Hegseth come out along with General Raisin Kane, and they give us great report, and now we're back in the green in the markets today. We had a really bad day yesterday. I think it was down 700. I don't know, but it'll come back. It's just, I mean, and you got to look at CNBC's page here. Do you see this spot right here? Pete Hegseth on Strait of Hormuz. Don't need to worry about it. Oil holds near 100 as Trump says America has ammunition and plenty of time. I think the last I checked, it was up around 90 something. By the way, these are all futures, folks. Remember that. I mean, this is part of what you're watching play out here. Let's see. Oil price. Let's just see what we get here for the current oil price. 94.100. WTI crude 94, Brent crude 100. So the price that you're paying at the pump, I think what we're seeing, a lot of it is fear-based. A lot of it is price gouging. In fact, I'm not the only one who says this. Congressman Tim Burchett says the same thing. I believe. How much oil? This is the proof in it. How much oil does America get from Iran? Zero.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett just filled up the dually with diesel yesterday. I decided to do that instead of sending my daughter to school next year. But the reality is, I mean, they're ripping us off. Diesel is like the second cut they take off it when it comes out of the ground. I think it goes kerosene and diesel and then gasoline, and diesel is the most expensive. And I'm sure they can make some sort of, they'll bring out the economic experts, another to cover themselves on that. Another thing that really ticks me off about it is that they've when the price of oil, like they say, well, it's this whatever happens overseas is causing this to happen. But then when you go to the hardware store or the auto parts store and you buy a quart of oil, guess what? The price hasn't gone up. But the price of the gasoline in the tank is going up, and that's gasoline that is probably months from it was in the ground, and then it was converted into gasoline at a refinery. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing is just ridiculous. It's greed, and eventually we're going to come to a point in technology, say coal turning coal into oil and gasoline, as the Germans did during the Second World War. But guess what? The technology hasn't advanced since then. It's still cheaper just to get oil out of the ground than to convert coal, which we have a lot of. And how much oil does America get from Iran? Zero. That's how much. This is a scam, and these oil companies, shame on them. They're using this opportunity to make record profits once again.
Yeah, I completely agree. What we're seeing right now is reactionary based, not only in the markets, but also what you're paying at the pump. And it's sick.
So, you got to ask yourself, even if we were getting it, what about the stuff that's already in the pipeline, that's already been paid for, the gasoline that's in the tank at your neighborhood filling station? How does it go up exponentially when something happens overseas? It's a scam. Gasoline goes up, like a rocket, and it comes down with a parachute and never gets back down to where it should be.
That's so good.
Technology, all that technology in the world, we're going to eventually figure out how to crack that hydrogen molecule and run our cars off of water, I think. I don't care what the scientists tell you right now. They tell you all this stuff. It's, well, a man couldn't run a 4-minute mile, can't go 100 miles an hour in an automobile, you can't breathe. We're not going to go to the moon. Tim Burchett's not going to get elected to Congress. You hear all those things. But guess what? They happened. Anyway, thank y'all for sending me here. Pray for our country.
Yeah. Like Tim, good guy. Got to meet him a few years back and really enjoyed that. Common sense, down to earth, truth, logic, and common sense, and he will tell it like it is, which is what I like. I think most about him. Rep Sri Thanedar, one of the craziest of the crazies. I don't know why anybody puts him on TV, but other than to laugh at him. But News Nation did just that yesterday. The guy from Michigan, the weirdo from Michigan with his painted on eyebrows and the wig that he wears. That's not real hair. It can't be, right? It can't be. Anyway, this Sri wants to abolish ICE.
So this ICE organization is, totally out of control and must be ended. And that's why I brought in abolishing qualified immunity for ICE agents. Yeah. And just a couple of weeks ago, I brought in abolishing ICE.
Well, I think
Act. So this ICE organization.
By the way, did you see what happened on CNN the other day? News Nation, one thing. How about CNN? CNN airing 4 minutes. I played that statement for you that the Ayatollah apparently had made. There's the woman reading.
Mujtaba Khamenei, the leader of the Islamic Republic, in their first public speech.
You know, they played 4 minutes of this unfiltered from Iranian state TV. 4 minutes unfiltered, but they'll cut away from President Trump whenever he's giving a speech on CNN. That tells you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. And speaking of the crazy media games, this is not a surprise either. MSDNC 13 or now or whatever it's called now, in full blame Trump mode over the Islamic. By the way, that's victim shaming and blaming again. It's your fault that we got attacked. You got a couple of them yesterday and several recently, and it's Trump's fault.
Between Muslims in the West, Muslims and the people of the Jewish faith, in large part because of what's happening in Iran. And you have to wonder about the connectedness. You have to wonder about the ways in which this environment further radicalizes people. And
what we have to wonder about is how sane you are, or how much you hate America, what kind of a threat you might be. That's what we have to. Is Trump responsible for September 11th, too? I mean, how far back can we go with this retro blame?
You have to wonder fundamentally about the degree to which this White House, which has been caught completely flat-footed on a war of choice, really has the personnel in place and actually the interest in keeping Americans safe. Because thus far, the data that we've been given, whether it's the Pentagon downplaying the brutality of the attack that killed.
Who is this weirdo? And what the heck is going on with this earring she's got going on? Looks like something out of Star Trek. Am I wrong? I mean, well, there is good news, folks. Hear a lot about jobs these days, job numbers. She's still employed. In fact, she's got a new one. You're going to love this. Greta Thunberg. Greta found a new job. Well, the whole global warming scam sort of it's cooled off. Let's just put it that way. So she's been jumping, obviously she was talking about Gaza for a while. You remember how that played out, right? She was out there ringing a bell for Gaza and everything. Now she's got a new gig.
How dare you?
Yeah. And a new haircut. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, she does. There's Greta. Greta now stumping for, wait for it, Cuba.
We need to talk about what's happening in Cuba right now.
Oh, we do?
As the Trump administration is waging illegitimate wars across the world, killing countless of people, it is also strangling the Cuban people.
You know, I am so glad that Greta is there to be the conscience for me so that I can know what to be upset about, so that I can know what to be offended about, so I can know what to be outraged about. And honestly, if I were her, I'd be outraged about that haircut. I'm just saying.
How dare you?
Just making a point.
Deliberately, methodically, and openly. The pedophile Trump himself bragged about it, saying there's an embargo, there is no oil, there's no money, there's no...
A pedophile Trump? Who's writing this for her?
Anything. He said it like it was something to be proud of, while millions of people have been plunged into darkness by rolling blackouts, while hospitals lose power, while ambulances run out of fuel, while shelves go empty. The United Nations has warned...
Ma'am, are you familiar? Cuba has been an absolute excremental hole for decades now. It's got nothing to do with Trump. It's just communism. Somebody needs to give her a good shaking.
Blah, blah, blah.
Just wake her up.
Of imminent humanitarian crisis, intensive care units and emergency rooms are compromised. Newborns, the elderly, the sick, all paying the price. This is not an accident or an unfortunate side effect of some policy disagreement. This is the intended outcome. Since 1962, the US embargo has been designed, in the words of the US State Department itself, to bring about hunger, desperation, and overthrow the government.
Yeah, this is so absurd that there would be so many causes that Greta would care about that she has to jump on. It's not it. It's what she's paid to do and talk about. That's what we're watching here, folks. That's all of this in a nutshell. And they don't pay her enough. I'll be honest with her. They don't pay her nearly enough, because if they did, maybe I just want to say, could get a better haircut. I'm just saying. I just have to. I don't mean to it, but it just, some of this stuff, holy smokes. And how sad it is that they use, this poor girl, she's autistic, probably doesn't even know what she's up to, anyway. Folks, don't miss it this weekend. The podcast with Missy, Maha Missy, from My Pure Health Solutions, and the latest, the stories, the updates you're going to want to hear. The CIA been hiding a cure for cancer this entire time. We knock it down and get it all into that and more in this week's conversation with the Maha Update. My update as well, My Pure Health Solutions, ticking along, nearly 30 pounds down now, feeling great. Join the mission. Go to healthwithjustin.com. Check out all the before and after photos and more, and join us in the fight to make America healthy again.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen, but please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.
Okay, let's find our winner for today in the sharing contest. Did you share? If you haven't shared yet, go ahead and share. Especially if you're over on Facebook, we'll say thank you to the folks that shared. It doesn't matter where you share. I mean, Facebook, X, Rumble, it all helps us. But you guys, you can help us break the algorithm in a big way if you help share today or any day that we're broadcasting. Kevin, appreciate you. I'm going to butcher your last name. Kevin Krozowski? Krozowski? Is that the right word? I got to say Kevin K. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you sharing today over on Facebook, helping us get the word out. Kevin K., you're our winner today. Shoot me an email. Justin at justinbarclay.com. There it is. Appreciate you helping get that done. That helps us get the word out, break the algorithm. Kevin's got a sweet ride up here too. Look at that buggy. Very cool. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you all. And we'll see you back here Monday. God bless.